Sir, I need to see your credentials. Colonel Garrett stops mid-stride at Fort Bragg's security checkpoint, staring at the guard blocking his path. A middle-aged woman in security uniform, name tag reading Morgan, stands between him and the classified briefing that starts in 5 minutes. Do you know who I am? Garrett's voice carries across the checkpoint. Rebecca Morgan does know. She knows exactly who he is, what clearance he holds, and why his credentials expired yesterday. But she also knows something he doesn't. In 12 minutes, her phone will ring with a tone that changes everything. Fort Bragg's checkpoint gleams under morning sun. Rebecca Morgan, 46, works the security station in dark blue uniform, hair pulled back. She moves with precision most assume comes from contractor training. They're wrong. Sir, Rebecca repeats, voice calm. I need to verify your credentials. Colonel Marcus Garrett's jaw tightens. 3 junior officers slow behind him, sensing confrontation. Dozens of personnel watch. I've been coming through here for 3 years, Garrett says, voice rising. Every guard knows who I am. Rebecca's fingers rest steady on the tablet. Protocol requires current credentials. No exceptions, sir. No exceptions? Garrett steps closer. When a colonel tells you he's cleared, you step aside. You don't play games with protocol you barely understand. Major Williams, approaching from parking, slows. The security guard isn't backing down. She stands with confidence that seems wrong for the humble position. Sir, the system shows your credentials expired at midnight. I cannot authorize entry to restricted facilities. Garrett's face reddens. This is a system error. Move aside before I have you removed permanently. I'm following security protocol, sir. Rebecca's voice never wavers. Captain Rodriguez stops, watching. Most contractors would have crumbled by now. This woman hasn't blinked. Real security, Garrett's voice carries across the checkpoint, comes from officers making judgment calls, not civilians rigidly following rules they can't interpret. Rebecca's shoulders square incrementally. Williams catches the military bearing. Colonel, protocols exist for everyone's protection. They're designed by people with military experience. Military experience? Garrett laughs harshly. You're a security guard checking IDs. Don't lecture me when you're working a position requiring no military training whatsoever. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. I need to contact the watch commander. Rebecca reaches for her radio. You absolutely do not, Garrett interrupts. This is what's wrong with security. We put untrained civilians in minor authority and they think they're decision makers. Quick pause. Has anyone ever been underestimated because of the job you were doing? Drop a comment. This story shows us that the person others dismiss might be the one who created the very protocols they're questioning. I read every single one. Rebecca's phone, distinct from her security radio, begins vibrating. Not a personal cell, but the urgent pulse of a secure government device. She ignores it, attention on Garrett. Sir, if you'll give me 2 minutes. 2 minutes I don't have because you decided to play security theater. The phone pulses again, more insistent. Rodriguez observes details. The uniform is crisp, precisely fitted. Boots show military-grade care. The composure under pressure suggests training most contractors lack. There's nothing to verify. Garrett's control slips. This is harassment, a contractor with delusions disrupting operations. The phone pulses a 3rd time. Priority escalation. Rebecca's eyes flick to her pocket, then back. For the first time, her composure cracks. Not from his pressure, but from whatever that phone demands. Colonel, I need to take a call. You don't give orders to my officers, Garrett snaps. You check IDs. That's your full authority. The phone pulses again. 4th cycle. Whatever this is won't wait. Rebecca makes a decision that changes everything. Rebecca steps away, hand toward phone. Garrett's anger spikes. Did I dismiss you? We're not done discussing respect for rank. Sir, Williams tries. Let her handle the call. Williams, you're testing my patience. Garrett addresses the crowd. Everyone needs to understand military hierarchy. Rebecca's phone continues pulsing. 18 years of training wars with 6 days of cover. Officers make strategic decisions. Garrett performs for his audience. Enlisted execute tactics. Contractors provide support. When support roles obstruct officer movements, the system breaks down. Rodriguez exchanges glances with Williams. This lecture goes beyond the immediate situation. Look objectively. Garrett gestures at Rebecca. A contractor hired to check IDs decides to delay a senior officer. She's not military police. No law enforcement authority. Essentially a receptionist with a clipboard acting like she has power. Rebecca's hand trembles holding the phone. Inside her pocket, a Pentagon device signals developing crisis requiring immediate strategic assessment. The same equipment coordinating international cyber warfare incidents. Protocol exists for a reason, she says, voice-controlled despite urgency. Security protects everyone, regardless of rank. Protocol written by military professionals, Garrett counters, not interpreted by civilians lacking operational context. Your role? When a colonel says he's cleared, you say, "Yes, sir," and move aside. What you're doing is pretending you have judgment authority you don't possess. Williams notices something odd. The guard isn't arguing anymore. She's watching Garrett with patient expression, like a professor waiting for an incorrect answer before providing correction. Phone pulses again. Fifth cycle. You know what bothers me? Garrett warms up. It's not inconvenience. It's the assumption that my 3 decades mean less than a system checkbox. The idea that someone with zero background thinks they assess security better than officers with careers in classified environments. Sir, Rebecca interrupts gently. You're right. Military experience and strategic understanding matter tremendously. Garrett blinks, surprised. Which is why. Rebecca pulls out the demanding phone. The system flagged your credentials. Not bureaucratic error, but because someone with extensive military experience programmed intelligent protocols protecting against exactly these situations. Rebecca closes her eyes briefly, calculating risk versus necessity. The cover mission ends now, she answers. General Morgan. Silence, total and immediate. General Morgan, developing situation Indo-Pacific. Coordinated cyber attacks on military communications require immediate strategic assessment. Rebecca transforms. Her voice becomes crisp authority of someone commanding thousands across time zones. Attack vector? Simultaneous intrusions, 7 classified networks, ma'am, state-sponsored coordination, tactical communications, logistics systems, personnel databases. Timeline. 15 minutes, ma'am. Cyber Command needs your authorization protocol Delta. Understood. Route attack data to secure tablet. I need real-time monitoring and immediate Tier 1 breach notifications. Rebecca observes transformation around her. Garrett frozen, mouth open. Williams fascinated, puzzle pieces clicking. Personnel experiencing disbelief stages. Her primary attention stays on the crisis thousands of miles away. General. Analysis suggests testing response patterns, network resilience, probing vulnerabilities without committing full breach. Sophistication assessment? High level, ma'am. 0-day exploits we haven't seen. Rotating proxy servers, difficult source identification. Suggests reconnaissance for larger operation. Rebecca paces near checkpoint, security uniform at odds with authority in her voice. Recommendation. Protocol Delta immediately. All Indo-Pacific theater. Activate secondary encryption classified channels. Elevate monitoring DEFCON 3 cyber operations. Copy, General. Secretary requesting escalation assessment. Tell Secretary this is intelligence gathering, not cyber warfare opening. We demonstrate robust defense without appearing to escalate. Show detection capability without triggering international incident. Garrett finds voice. General? Rebecca holds up one finger. Around checkpoint, personnel stopped all activity. General Morgan. Unusual patterns personnel security databases. Multiple failed access attempts targeting officer credentials. Rebecca's eyes sharpen. Which systems? Fort Bragg, Fort Hood, Lewis McChord. Attackers accessing current credential status for senior officers, particularly cyber operations facility access. Timestamp? Starting 6 hours ago, ma'am. escalated significantly past 40 minutes. Rebecca turns slowly to Garrett, pieces connecting. Garrett's credential flag. Triggered by automated response to these breach attempts? Affirmative, ma'am. System flagged officers whose credentials were queried. Temporary suspension pending verification was automatic security response. So checkpoint guard followed security protocol my office designed protecting against exactly this intelligence gathering. Yes, General. System worked as intended. Rebecca meets Garrett's eyes, his face gone from red to pale. Colonel Martinez, execute protocols immediately. I'll join emergency session within 30 minutes. Continuous monitoring. Understood, General. Execute immediately. Rebecca ends call, looks around silent checkpoint. Every face turned toward her, expressions shock to awe. She turns to Garrett, staring with expression of worldview collapsing. Colonel Garrett, questions about security procedures and appropriate military experience? What happened next left everyone speechless. Garrett's mouth opens. No sound. I'm General Rebecca Morgan, Cyber Command Strategic Operations. Rebecca's voice carries authority. I've been evaluating Fort Bragg security procedures this past week. She gestures at her uniform. This assignment assessed base security and personnel response without complications my presence in uniform creates. Officers realize every conversation, decision, attitude has been observed by senior cyber operations leadership. Ma'am, Garrett manages, I couldn't know, Colonel, you couldn't know my identity. But you could treat security personnel with respect and follow procedures, regardless of assumptions about their background. Rebecca pulls official Pentagon tablet. That phone call wasn't coincidence. We've tracked cyber reconnaissance targeting military personnel databases 3 weeks. Fort Bragg was specifically targeted for our cyber training facility. She shows data streams. Security protocols flagging your credentials were implemented by my office protecting against the attack we just intercepted. When hostile actors probe personnel databases, the system automatically reviews anyone queried and temporarily flags access until verification. William steps closer. General Checkpoint Guard, you followed protocol you designed? My team designed, yes. I observed implementation at ground level and personnel response when procedures conflicted with convenience or rank. Rebecca closes tablet. Colonel, your credentials were flagged by AI responding to hostile intelligence gathering. That security guard did exactly what required. Enforce protocol without exception. That guard saved you from compromised access being exploited by foreign intelligence. The weight settles heavy. 18 years ago, I was lieutenant in tactical cyber ops, Iraq. My commanding officer taught crucial lesson about security procedures. He said exceptions, even for colonels, generals, create patterns hostile actors exploit. Direct look at Garrett. That commanding officer died in attack succeeding because someone decided protocol didn't apply to senior personnel at checkpoint. Hostile actor watched our patterns, waited for exactly that exception. Complete quiet. I've spent 18 years developing security systems preventing that. Systems not caring about rank or convenience. Systems protecting everyone equally, especially when following them is inconvenient. Rebecca addresses wider personnel. Every person at checkpoints across every base is integrated security protecting operations from sophisticated hostile intelligence. When we treat security personnel as obstacles rather than critical defense, we undermine protection. Sir, Williams says, what happens now? Fort Bragg becomes pilot for enhanced security protocol training. We'll demonstrate effectiveness increases when everyone respects their role, regardless of rank. Back to Garrett. Colonel, report to General Sullivan's office 1400 hours today. Your comments indicate need for professional development regarding integrated base security. Garrett nods, calculating damage. Major Williams, join me discussing cyber operations training opportunities. Your observational awareness shows what we need in threat assessment. The revelation was just beginning. Rebecca Morgan removes her security guard badge carefully, revealing a subtle pin underneath. The insignia of Cyber Command Strategic Operations. Gentlemen, the phone call you just witnessed was real. The cyber attack is real. The security protocols that protected Colonel Garrett's credentials from being exploited by hostile intelligence are real. This wasn't a training exercise or elaborate demonstration. It was a general doing her job while observing how effectively her own security systems were being implemented. She walks to the checkpoint tablet and enters a command sequence. The screen transforms, showing network monitoring data that makes Captain Rodriguez's eyes widen. This is real-time monitoring of the attacks we're currently defending against, 7 networks under simultaneous assault. Multiple nation-state actors attempting to map our communications infrastructure and identify high-value personnel. "Ma'am," Rodriguez asks, "how long have we been under attack?" 3 weeks of reconnaissance, 20 minutes of active attempts, and thanks to security procedures working exactly as designed, 0 successful breaches. Rebecca closes the tablet, including 0 exploitation of Colonel Garrett's credentials, despite those credentials being specifically targeted by hostile actors this morning. The weight of that statement settles over everyone present. "The system worked," Williams says slowly. "The security guard, you, stopped a colonel from entering a restricted area with credentials that had been compromised by foreign intelligence targeting." "The system worked," Rebecca confirms, "because a security guard followed established protocol despite significant pressure to make an exception based on rank. That guard, me, chose procedure over convenience. That choice, multiplied across thousands of security personnel making similar choices every day, is what keeps our operations secure." She turns to Garrett one final time. "Colonel, I don't tell you this to humiliate you. I tell you this so you understand that every person wearing a uniform or security badge performs critical functions, protecting our operations from sophisticated threats you may never see. That guard checking credentials isn't a minor obstacle. She's first-line defense against hostile intelligence operations." "Yes, ma'am." Garrett's voice is hollow. "I understand. I hope you do. The conversation we just had, the public disrespect shown to security procedures and personnel, that happens across military bases. And every time it happens, we teach hostile observers that our protocols can be bypassed through social pressure and rank intimidation." She pauses, looking at the gathered personnel. "In 18 years developing cybersecurity systems, I've learned that our greatest vulnerability isn't technology, it's assumption. The assumption that rank equals judgment, that appearance determines capability, that convenience outweighs security. Today, a checkpoint guard enforced protocol designed to protect this base from exactly the threat we faced. That guard's resolve, despite pressure from a full colonel, prevented potential intelligence breach. That's not bureaucracy. That's integrated defense working as designed." The checkpoint goes silent. Personnel process what just happened. A general, disguised as security guard for a week, just coordinated international cyber defense while teaching the most important lesson about respect and protocol. 6 months later, Fort Bragg's checkpoint security protocols became the model for military installations worldwide. Colonel Garrett received reassignment to logistics training at Fort Leonard Wood, effectively ending his advancement possibilities. His evaluation included mandatory professional development in integrated security operations and respect for all personnel performing critical defense functions. Major Williams was promoted to lieutenant colonel ahead of schedule and assigned to Cyber Command, where his observational skills proved invaluable in threat assessment operations. Rebecca Morgan received her 3rd star 18 months later, becoming one of the highest-ranking women in Cyber Command history. Her promotion ceremony was held at Fort Bragg, with hundreds in attendance celebrating the transformation she sparked. "Security requires humility," she said during the ceremony. "It requires recognizing that the person you're tempted to dismiss might be the one who designed the very systems protecting your life." The checkpoint where everything changed now has a small plaque. Effective security sees every person as essential. True protection requires no exceptions. Every morning, personnel passing through remember that the guard checking credentials might be a general. More importantly, they remember that even if she's not, she deserves the same respect. Sometimes the most powerful leader at the base is the one everyone underestimated. Sometimes the person protecting you is the one you tried to bypass. And sometimes the greatest security breach is forgetting that protocols exist to protect everyone equally. To everyone from California, Texas, Florida, and beyond, Thank you for recognizing those who serve without needing recognition. Subscribe for more stories of unsung heroes who prove that true authority needs no announcement. See you in the next one.